And to give you a better analysis of the ongoing whole of India approach, I'm joined by senior economic journalist Shubhamoy Bhattacharjee. Good afternoon, Mr. Bhattacharjee. Now, today, Prime Minister inaugurated the Global Investment Summit in Bhopal and later yet another initiative for farmers in Bihar. And then again, the focus will be towards Northeast with Assam initiatives. How do you see this whole of India approach in one up to the vision of having developed India by the year 2047?
Yeah, because these are, as you can understand, when the Prime Minister goes for these sort of events, these are not one-off. There's a lot of background study, background analysis done to understand why the presence of the Prime Minister is necessary. So these are essentially policy decisions that are being talked about by the Prime Minister, as you highlighted. And these, therefore, need to be understood as clear policies that would be put into shape. Now, those are very significant, but the difference is that unlike, instead of making as a national policy, which has got limitations, these are state-specific. So in Madhya Pradesh, for instance, he's talking about using cotton as the basis for the agricultural revolution. Similarly, in Northeast, it'll be something else. And that is necessary because otherwise the accent or the focus gets diluted. You can't have the same size fit all for everyone.
And also, when we talk about the Global Investors Summit, how is it helping the respective states? Because of late it has gained a lot of momentum right from UP to MP.
For the global investors, these summits are very important to really understand how well geared the states are and the state administrations are to receive investments. The problem in that is there now is not that there is lack of capital, but the challenge is how far is the state administration able to soak in those capital? What are the specific projects that they are able to discuss about? What is the scale at which they are discussing those projects? These are very significant. It's not just, asking for a couple of few hundred crores here and there. We are talking about not just few thousands, but we are talking about almost like 50 to 100,000 crores of investment. Now, those are big sums. Now, for those to come in, and as I said, the capital is not the issue. The issue is for the state administrations to take it, to understand what does it take for a global investor to be able to invest. They want to invest in India, that's for sure. And they are very keen, given India has lots of advantage in terms of demographic dividend, in terms of its capacity, in terms of the fact that the per capita income is rising, the national GDP, which is rising at, it's making it one of the fastest growing economies of the world. So they would want to know that which are the states which are willing to really push hard to make the investment successful. That calls for very difficult and very detailed negotiations, but the global investor summits are therefore a very important medium for states to show how well they are able to think in terms of making the investments come through. Yes.
And somewhere or the other, it also drives the employment opportunities for Indians as well, isn't it?
That's right. All of these investments have very strong impact on the state employment. So that's absolutely given. There's going to be a huge amount of advantage that accrues to the state's population. States like Madhya Pradesh, they are extremely powerful in terms of the size of the young population that they have, the skilling centers that they can create, the amount of jobs that they can generate. So those are very massive. And critically, it all requires coordination, as the Prime Minister was pointing out, between the center and the states. Now, the center can give the advantage and the center can create advantages, but only to the extent that the states are able to run with those. So these meetings are very important.
Now in Assam, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to attend the biggest ever Jhumo event as well. How do you see this much needed limelight received by the northeastern state or the Ashtalakshmi states, as we say, and the boost to the tribal culture, because culture is related to tourism and then it is related to state's economy as well?
Absolutely. There are so many things, and Northeast is in a, we are calling it a takeoff state. Of late, you would have seen that there have been several major railway lines that have been inaugurated from the northeast Assam, which have been which should be majorly significant. There are road connections that are now coming up over different areas of the Brahmaputra River. There are also projects that are connecting the northeast with our neighbors in the east. When we talk of the India's look east and act east policy, there's lots that's happening there. So the northeast is very significant, and those would and the advantage of the northeast is that the population there is trained. They have the capacity. Countries like Singapore and others have already established bases in those states, especially in Assam, to train people there in difficult skills to be able to serve the ASEAN markets. So there's plenty happening there, and it's just the right time to see how those things can, all come together to give a fillip to the development of those regions.
Yes. All right. So with all these initiatives, India on its path to become a developed nation by the year 2047. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and bringing us a rounded perspective on the multipolar approach by Prime Minister Narendra Modi towards India's development.